You know, we know the spring is such a busy time. You as our members are out calving cows. We're deep into bull sale season. Boy, there's a lot of optimism out as I talk to you, hear about these strong bull sales that we're having really from coast to coast. We're seeing strong demand for good registered Angus bulls of lots of different types and kinds and breeding philosophies, and that's exciting to me. I know there's optimism in our market as we look forward, seeing cattle prices coming up, future for calf prices getting stronger, and I know, again, there's not without challenges. A lot of you are still dealing with some drought, and everyone seems to be dealing with inflation of some kind, but I think as I talk to our members across the board, as I talk to you individually, there is a ton of optimism, and that carried over into our board meetings. Our board of directors has just recently come together and met for several days through committee meetings and through board meetings here in St. Joe. We really work to put that information out to you ahead of the meetings in our agenda highlights, and then immediately following the board meetings, we have a letter from President Keneally that really highlights of a lot of the big issues and the big decisions that were made as a board. So that's really about transparency to you as members, to understand what your board is discussing, what we as staff are prioritizing and working towards on your behalf. Of course, when the board is together, we always focus on breed improvement. How do we, again, continue to put the tools in your toolbox to breed the type of Angus cattle that you want? The focus has been largely on maternal traits. As many of you are aware, we've been talking about sustained cow fertility, which has really been a placeholder name for longevity, and that's probably the term you're going to hear coming from us more often now, functional longevity or longevity. Kelly Ritalik and the team at AGI gave us an update on where we're at in that research. We'll likely be rolling out here late summer, early fall with a research EPD for longevity. We're excited to get that out into the members' hands. As we've typically done with a research EPD, it'll be available on AI sires and then also available to those breeders that are participating in collecting phenotypes for that particular trait. For example, on pap or hair shedding, we've made that available to those members on their herd. And we're going to be doing the same with the longevity EPD, the research EPD, for those that are involved in inventory reporting. That's the data that's so important to characterize longevity in cows. And so breeders that are participating in inventory reporting will have that added incentive of being able to access that research EPD for longevity on their herds when it becomes available. As a board, continuing to look on the horizon, and we know this discussion around sustainability is one that we've been engaged in for quite some time. We know certified Angus beef as our brand that's out there touching the consumers and working with our partners that are selling our product each and every day, continue to have questions that they want help answering as it relates to the great work that you as farmers and ranchers are doing, taking care of the land, taking care of the animals. We think there's just an incredible opportunity to reframe the narrative, many times that's been negative as it relates to the impact that beef cattle have on the environment. We think there's a real opportunity here to reframe that discussion, put the facts out in front of our consumers. And so we continue to talk about that topic in general. Even talked about research that's going on in the genetic field, on the dairy industry, and even some others actually looking at the genetics of methane emission. Our board gave us a directive of unanimous support to continue to research, to communicate, and to be a leader in these areas of sustainability. Also, as we look down the road, kind of an interesting discussion that's going on in the dairy side of the business as it relates to patents. A couple patents that have been issued on individual animals. Our board took that topic up and had some concerns as it relates to what does that mean for our independent breeders. Again, today it's in the dairy side, but we could see that potentially transferring over to the beef cattle side and specifically the registered Angus business. With the concerns and reservations that exist around these patents, our board gave us direction to engage in this topic on behalf of our independent breeders. Over the years, today you as Angus breeders have amassed over 80 million data points that fuel our genetic evaluation. And so we continue to look at ways of how we help make that easier for that data to flow into our system. And one of the things we talked about was the use of electronic identification, or EIDs. We know many of you use EIDs in your management systems today, so we looked at ways to help that information flow more easily into our genetic evaluation, or into AHIR first, and also potentially how those EIDs might serve as a permanent form of identification. And we always are looking at ways of how do we better connect with you as members. And I know we had a lot of discussion as a board of different tactics, different things we should be considering. One of the things was around our website, angus.org. We know there's a ton of information out on that website, but we know at times it can be a little bit overwhelming, maybe especially for our commercial customers that come to angus.org wanting to learn more about registered Angus cattle. And so we're working towards ways to make that website even more user-friendly than it is today. We know you as members, a lot of you have things bookmarked, you know exactly where to go, so we'll do our best to not disrupt any of that, but at the same time, again, make it more user-friendly for maybe a commercial producer that's just bought his first registered Angus bull that's wanting to learn more about registered Angus cattle. In the spirit of getting more information out to our membership and to users of Angus genetics, Angus Media is launching a new podcast called Angus at Work. So for all you podcast fans out there, there's another one to put into your favorites and go download. It's going to be some really great information shared with you in a format that works well. Maybe you can listen as you're out on the tractor or driving in the truck. As always, on behalf of our board, on behalf of us as staff, we want to hear from you. As you have ideas of how we can get better, how we can bring more value to your operation, please share those. Our information is out on angus.org. Our email addresses, as always, you can call the office here in St. Joe. And we wish you all the best as you wrap up spring bull sale season and spring calving season.